Libra, the reason why your family turned against you. Libra, something inside you has known for a long time that the silence that has settled in your family has a reason that no one has ever dared to say aloud. You realized it. After a certain point, the glances changed, the phone calls decreased, the dinners became shorter, colder, emptier, even with everyone sitting at the table. If you stay with me until the end, I will show you what really happened. And it may hurt, but it will release a weight you've carried for years without knowing where it came from. There's a scene you might know all too well, Libra. A family dinner. The clinking of cutlery is louder than the voices. You share good news, an achievement, a small victory that made you proud, and what follows isn't celebration. It's silence. A polite silence, almost gentle, but one that weighs more than any argument ever did. And you wonder, alone, washing the dishes after everyone has left, what did I do so wrong to deserve this distance? I need to tell you about a mirror, an old mirror, kept at the back of a house that no one wants to hang in the living room anymore. Not because it's broken, but because it shows wrinkles that the whole family pretends not to have. Keep that image, Libra. It will come back. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the distancing began right after a moment when you simply shone. You'll recognize the 4 signs that this distancing was never about your fault. It was energetic, not relational. You'll hear the exact name of the pattern that explains all of this. You'll learn how to protect yourself without having to cut off those you love. And in the end, I'll tell you the phrase Libra needed to hear years ago. I can't guarantee that this will change your entire family tonight, but I can guarantee that when you understand what's behind this silence, the weight you carry will no longer be yours. Now, listen carefully, because the first thing I need you to understand is this. You never did anything wrong. You just shone in a room that was afraid of the dark. Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try to maintain your family ties, a distance grows on its own, silently, without arguments, without explanation, right after any achievement of yours? What if what you call indifference, jealousy, or family issues is actually a sign that the universe is trying to show you the mirror that no one else has dared to face? Many believe that simply insisting more, visiting more, explaining more is enough. But what if true change begins when you understand the 12 laws of the universe that help each zodiac sign overcome spiritual envy? Now think about this. What if every dinner that went cold, every compliment that turned to silence, every phone call that stopped coming, and every invitation that arrived last hid a pattern you never had the opportunity to see on your own? What if understanding this pattern could free you from the guilt you carry without even remembering when it started? While searching for answers to these questions, I found the digital book, The 12 Laws of the Universe, that help each zodiac sign overcome spiritual envy. More than just a book, it brings together teachings and exercises to help you understand these patterns, break the cycle of guilt that was never yours, and strengthen your energy without having to distance yourself from those you love. Many Librans have already begun this journey and discovered a new way to look at their own family silence. Now it's your turn. Many already feel this relief, but access to the digital book may be taken down at any moment. It's available in the first pinned comment. Don't wait for another family dinner to cool down without understanding why. Click now, download your copy, and discover why the silence that tried to erase you from the table is proof that your light never fit the size they were ready to receive. If that first word touched you in any way, write, "I release myself" below. Not for me, but because another Libra, who is exactly where you were a year ago, needs this message to reach them tonight. There's a name for this pattern, Libra. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but I promise, before the end of this video, it will descend upon you like an answer you've been waiting for years. Stay with me. Before I show you this name, I need you to recognize the signs, because a pattern only loses its power when we learn to recognize it before it repeats itself. The first sign is the table growing cold. You felt it before, Libra. The family dinner, the clinking of cutlery louder than the conversation. A comment of yours met with polite silence instead of celebration. You called it coldness. But it wasn't coldness. It was discomfort with the very reflection your presence ignited in the room. The second sign is the call that no longer comes. The cell phone on the table, the name of a relative who used to call every week and now only sends a short, insubstantial message. You called this forgetfulness. But it wasn't forgetfulness. It was an escape from the mirror. The third sign is praise that turns into a demand. You mention an achievement of yours aloud, and the response is a comparison. Your cousin also achieved it. That's not so rare. You called it petty, unimportant envy. But it was the only way they found to alleviate their own discomfort in your presence. The fourth sign is the invitation that arrives last. A family party, and you find out about it through third parties, not receiving it directly. You called it deliberate exclusion, but it wasn't. It was the family body reorganizing itself, trying not to feel its own lateness alongside you. Now look at your shoulder, Libra. Notice if it's tense, slightly pulled forward, as if preparing to protect your chest from yet another silence. Relax that shoulder. What comes next is no longer a burden. It's an explanation. There's something you may never have noticed. For some of you, this silence appears as a sibling who avoids calling after 9 o'clock at night. For others, it appears as a mother who only talks about the weather, never about your life. And for still others, it appears as a family group chat on your phone that went completely quiet right after you shared some good news. I need to tell you about a path of protection now, Libra, before I reveal the name of this pattern, because whoever carries the weight of this family silence needs relief before receiving the revelation. There is a path of protection, and I will open it now, before the name, before the word, because whoever carries the weight of this family silence needs relief before receiving the revelation. Stay. And it is precisely here that the path to protection opens up. I've experienced firsthand what it's like to sit at a family table and feel the room's temperature change when you walk in. I've seen silence settle in right after a moment that should have been celebrated. And for a long time, I also thought it was my fault, until I understood that it wasn't. Every silence at Christmas, every dry compliment received as if it were too much to ask for genuine pride. Every invitation that arrives late as if you were remembered last. These are not your faults, Libra. They are the reactions of someone who feels exposed by a light they didn't choose to extinguish. What if the big turning point lies precisely in this revelation that you haven't yet been able to apply to your life? What if understanding this mechanism could give you back the right to shine without carrying guilt for it? The name of this mechanism is the reverse mirror effect. When Libra's light unintentionally reflects what others have been hiding from themselves for years, and the instinctive reaction of someone who feels exposed is not to confront their own reflection, it's to push the mirror away. Keep this principle in mind, Libra, because it's the key to everything that follows. No one pushes away someone they love without reason. They push away someone who reflects what they haven't yet had the courage to face. It was while trying to understand this mechanism that I came across the digital book, The 12 Laws of the Universe That Help Your Zodiac Sign Overcome Spiritual Envy. It doesn't exist to teach you how to distance yourself from anyone. It exists to give you back the understanding of why this siege formed and how to shield your energy without cutting off those you love. I've seen Librans carry decades of guilt for a silence they were never meant to bear. And I've seen the relief the moment they understood this law. This cosmic configuration involving Libra and family mirroring doesn't wait. It opens and closes in cycles, and whoever understands the pattern within the right window cuts the siege before it repeats itself in another important life bond. Cut off this guilt that was never yours. Shield your energy without distancing yourself from those you love. End the cycle of silence before it reappears, at work, in a friendship, in a relationship. That's what the 12 laws of the universe, which help your zodiac sign overcome spiritual envy, puts in your hands. I've seen people born under that same sign carry that burden into adulthood, believing they never deserved a table full of true pride. And I've seen those same people, upon understanding the inverted mirror, sit at the table for the first time without shrugging their shoulders. Don't wait for the next silent freeze to seek that protection. The silence that tried to erase you from the conversation is proof that your light was always brighter than that room was prepared to receive. And that's exactly why there's a way to sustain that light without fear. And now, with the path before you, the name descends. The reversed mirror effect is this, Libra. You were never the problem at the table. You were the mirror that nobody wanted to look in. There is a man who carried this same burden for almost his entire adult life, without ever knowing how to name it. He would recount an achievement, and the family table would fall silent. He learned early on to lower his own voice, to fit into a silence that wasn't his, until the day someone, not a relative, just someone who saw from the outside, told him, "You are not the problem at this table. You are the mirror that no one dared to look at." He cried that day, and little by little he began to recount his achievements aloud again, not to provoke, but because he stopped feeling guilty for shining. Now pay attention to your breathing, Libra. Notice if it feels lighter after hearing this. The deepest truth lies ahead, and it bears your name. There's a bridge between that old mirror and who you are today, Libra. And it's time to name who you've become after understanding that pattern. The first identity is the guardian of the upside-down mirror, that person who has finally learned to look at themselves without guilt, even after years of hiding their own brilliance to fit in at other people's tables. The second is the silent lighthouse, the one that illuminates without demanding applause, that understands that its light never needed permission to exist. The third is the restored bridge, the one who reconnects ties without erasing themselves, who learns to be present in the family without silencing their own voice to fit in at the table. Now imagine this silent coronation, Libra. You sitting at the table without shrugging your shoulders, without apologizing for your own light. Notice your chin now. Let it go. Lift it slightly. That's the posture of someone who no longer carries borrowed guilt. The guardian of the upside-down mirror knows something few understand, the vulnerability of recognizing that for a long time you tried to erase yourself to be loved, and that this never needed to happen. Maintaining this identity after everything you've already understood here is the next step. And don't wait for the next compliment to turn into a demand to remember who you really are. It was precisely to support this identity that the companion for this journey was born, the 12 laws of the universe that help the zodiac sign overcome spiritual envy. A map so you don't fade away from your own table again. Notice the weight lifting from your chest now, Libra. I promised I'd come back to this, and that's what I want to talk about now, how to truly act in the face of this pattern. There are 3 tactics that protect you without cutting off those you love. The first is to name the pattern without accusing anyone. The statement is, I return this blame to the energy that created it. The symbolic action, write the name of the pattern, never the name of a person, on a piece of paper, and burn that paper in silence. The second is to reposition the inner mirror. The statement, my light doesn't apologize. The symbolic action, look at yourself in the mirror for 10 seconds in absolute silence without looking away. The third is to protect the bond without fading away. The statement, "I protect myself without hiding." The symbolic action. Before a family gathering, visualize a circle of soft light around you, protecting without distancing. When dinner gets cold, when the call doesn't come, when the invitation arrives last, the complete map of the protection you need to maintain is in these laws. I'm not rushing you, Libra. I'm warning you. Don't wait for another siege to form without knowing how to name it. This cycle only opens this door once per configuration, and whoever understands the pattern now cuts it off before it repeats itself. Don't release that energy yet, Libra. We're not finished. Stay with me. Change your posture now, Libra. Feel your feet firmly on the ground, your shoulders relaxed, your chin held high, like someone who no longer carries borrowed guilt. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine the old mirror, the one kept at the back of the house, turned against the wall for years. And slowly, imagine your own hand repositioning it, returning it to the living room wall, facing everyone. But this time, it doesn't reflect accusation, it reflects light. The room warms. The silence of the table, which before seemed empty, now seems only space. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders, one by one. Release along with it every Christmas silence you carried without understanding. Release every dry compliment. Release every belated invitation. Now, let go, without borrowed guilt, without apologizing for shining, without accepting silence as a normal part of your family, and activate within yourself the three identities that are already yours: the guardian of the turned mirror, the silent lighthouse, the restored bridge. Before sealing this, Libra, write below the name of someone you're carrying on this journey, or if it's for yourself, write in one sentence what you're hoping the universe will give back to you. I'll read it, and you won't be writing this alone. I haven't told you the most important thing yet, Libra. Stay with me until the end. Everything we've discussed here falls into three categories: the reason for the silence, the signs you've learned to recognize, and the path you've already begun to reposition within yourself. I saw you staring at your phone, waiting for a call that never came, sitting alone in the kitchen, and I need to tell you, you were never the problem at that table. You were, and still are, the mirror that no one dared to look into. The silence that kept you apart was never about a lack of love. It was about a reflection that demanded too much courage. The cut you made today, the protection you erected, the light you repositioned, they no longer need apologies. You never did anything wrong, Libra. You just shone too brightly for a room that was afraid of the dark. You never did anything wrong. You just reflected what nobody wanted to see. You never did anything wrong. And now, finally, you know it. Don't let go yet, Libra. I saw you looking at your phone, waiting for a call that never came, sitting alone in the kitchen. And that's precisely why there's company for this journey. The 12 laws of the universe that help this zodiac sign overcome spiritual envy won't bring back those who distance themselves, but they will give you back the certainty that the light was never the problem. Don't wait for tomorrow to test the peace you've rebuilt today. This configuration doesn't wait, and access to these laws is right there in the first pinned comment to sustain the peace you've just rebuilt. If this video touched you, Libra, subscribe to the channel. Not because I need it, but because there's another Libra right now, feeling that same silence at a table somewhere, and they need to find that message too. And in the next revelation, I'll show you why it's always after a silence like this that the universe prepares you for the most important reunion of your life. You were never the problem at the table, Libra. You were the mirror that nobody wanted to look in. The old mirror, way back in the house, is no longer facing the wall. It faces the entire room now, reflecting light, not accusation. Now, Libra, you can let go. May the 12 laws of the universe, or as many already call it, the great secret of spiritual envy, sustain this light that you have just rekindled.